I now recognize Mr. Steube, the gentleman from Florida, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Maxwell, is it true that you were the Vice President of Outreach and Engagement for the Humane Society of the United States?
I am not currently the Vice President of the Humane Society of the United States. I was in the past a Vice President of their Outreach Engagement and Rural Development.
And is it also true that you advocated for Americans to eat less meat, saying that it is, quote, good for the planet, for the environment, and for the animals? Is that correct?
I don't know that quote. What I would say is this. What is extremely important for us in this country is to have a local regional food system that feeds our neighbors healthy, safe foods, that respects the land, the animals, and the community for which the production and processing occurs.
I'd ask unanimous consent, Mr. Chairman, to put into the record Brownfield Ag News, January 21st, 2015, title HSUS Maxwell says, less meat is good.
Without objection.
Thank you. Also, are you aware, Mr. Maxwell, that the Humane Society of the United States fought for the campaign in Florida against gestation crates for pig and swine producers?
I am. I believe they also did so in California and in maybe Massachusetts.
Do you have gestation crates? Are gestation crates allowed in Missouri?
Gestation crates are allowed in Missouri. On my farm, we do not have gestation crates. So, caging an animal, a sentient being, for their entire life in a 2-foot by 7-foot cage in the name of industrial agriculture is just wrong.
So the organization that you just admitted,
custodians of that which we have, and we should take care of those animals that are within our care, whether they're our sheep, our cattle, or our hogs.
Okay, it's my time. I'm the one asking the questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you've admitted that you're the Vice President of Outreach for the Humane Society. You also just stated the Humane Society of the United States was responsible for backing the gestation crate amendment in the state of Florida, which systematically put out of business every swine producer in the state of Florida. So today in your testimony, you stated that 4 firms control, and I quote, 4 firms control 67% of the hog market. I was one of 670,000 hog farmers in the U.S. Today, I'm one of the remaining 64,000 hog farmers. And it's a direct result of the policies that you supported as Vice President of the Humane Society that put your competitors in Florida completely out of business. So you're complaining today that there's only 4 manufacturers of the hog market, 4 firms that control 67% of the hog market in the United States, which is a direct result of the policy positions that you've taken in your organization that you were vice president of, which has led us to where we are. And interestingly enough, the state that you hail from
that's not an accurate representation.
Whether you do it or not is irrelevant. The state that you hail from allows for gestation crates, but it's disallowed in states like Florida, which has directly resulted in small swine producers in the state of Florida from completely going out of business and not being able to compete with farmers, say, in your state of Missouri that are allowed to use gestation crates for the production of swine. Therefore, I find it very difficult to take your testimony when you've openly advocated against the growth in the livestock market, and yet today you purport to opine on what is best for it. I represent a district with over 500,000 head of cattle. We don't have swine anymore, thanks to the Humane Society of the United States pushing for that amendment in the state of Florida. Yet here you are telling us what is best for the livestock in the United States. Mr. Manny, there's been a push by Democrats for sweeping antitrust reforms. They're making sure not to let a crisis go to waste and are using inflation as a justification for those reforms. The Biden administration is looking to blame problems like inflation and supply chain issues on anything but their own policies, and big companies are an easy scapegoat. I disagree with the Democrats' premise and approach, but if lack of competition really is the issue, then wouldn't lowering regulatory barriers to entry and turn promoting more competition be a solution?
Yeah, no, no question, that's right. I also agree that there's some scapegoating going on, that there's a much longer standing policy agenda, and this is an opportunity to be opportunistic and take advantage of the situation to try to promote it. But I will also note that very antitrust agenda that we heard some mention of earlier that focuses on worker welfare and supplier welfare and small firms versus big firms, the neo-Brandesian approach. Again, I know I sound like a broken record. It will raise prices. We can debate whether it's worth that or not, but we cannot debate that will be a consequence of it. And we should judge the value of those kinds of policies in their full context. And part of that context is higher prices for consumers.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request.
Please state your request.
An excerpt from American Veterinary Medical Association article by Bridget Cohen, 9/15/2002, where the pig crate issue was backed by the Humane Society of the United States. I ask unanimous consent that that's added to the record. I also ask that the Humane Society of the United States Eating Humanely website is also entered into the record.
Without objection.